Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Vintage Story. And I just want to pause for a moment in this view because, man, does this game just look so good. I just think the way that the lighting looks with these in the background just looks so nice. Anyway, we just cast our first tin bronze tools. And as we previously talked about, I do want to work on, what's the word for it? Doing some pie making. And in order to do that, there's a few things that we're going to actually need. And let's do a switcheroo here. I'll put you away. Apparently you can walk through armor stance. I did not know that. And where does this go? I think it goes here. Okay. Perfect. And let's just get the standard allotment of tools. So I get the knife, and then I'll probably do the shovel and then the axe. And that way I have it all on hand, and I may play around with the hammer and chisel a little bit. And the reasoning is that I am going to be doing some work with fire clay, because we are going to need an oven. Before we go make an oven willy-nilly though, why don't we take a look at what we're actually going to do down here. So, as I previously had mentioned, I want to bring the level of this down by 1. And how exactly I'm going to accomplish that, I don't quite know. I suppose we could, just have the ceiling come down by 1, but I don't really want it to be that cramped down here. So instead, oh, and there's the corn. I built the corn last episode. I may have mentioned it in passing, but it's actually there. But I instead think I'd like to bring the whole basement down by 1. And there's a few ways to go about doing that. The first is I can begin by moving the staircase just over by 1 here. And I'm thinking that may be the way to go. I can drop the floor, and then what I'll basically end up doing is everything in here just goes down a level. I'm thinking that may be our best course of action. And what will end up happening is these areas here, these little nooks, indented areas, are probably where we're going to store everything. I'll put all our shelves along here in what will be the middle down here with storage vessels below them. And then we'll have more of a general storage with our barrel and our bucket and so on over here. But this wall, this wall I'd like to turn into a food prep oven area and kind of get a bit of a kitchen going. This isn't going to be anything super crazy because I really do want to work on our house first. But what's going to end up happening is that our house construction project is probably going to be something that we do really over the winter. Again, it's something I need to play around with a bit more to figure out exactly how we're going to do it. But I do think it is going to be a bit of a winter project. And I think it makes sense for us to have a basic kitchen down in our food prep area. And this is going to be our food prep area for, I'd say another 5 to 10 hours of the game. So we may as well make it look pretty. That way we're able to make things look pretty a bit up here. And I want to work on winter-proofing this as well. So since we are playing with fire clay, we may fire up some bricks so that we can start getting some glass and maybe take a look at that. Anyways, I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to get some fire clay bricks. I am going to build our ovens, and then I'm going to get that firing, and I'm going to take our mud brick, and I'm going to go through and drop all this down. So that's going to be quite a bit of work, but it is going to be pretty boring all in all. So I'm going to skip a montage through this, and I'll see you all on the other side. Okay, so that is the basement complete. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to take these clay ovens and I'd like to turn this back wall really into kind of a giant clay oven. I was hoping that maybe I could put like a cooking pot area here, but I'm not really confident I'm going to be able to make that happen. So to punch the required hole in the wall here, where I'd like it, is going to intersect the staircase. And so unfortunately I just don't quite think it's going to end up working out, but that's okay. And then what I've got going on is just over here I have some clay bricks that are firing. And this is so that, one, we can make a bloomery and we can work on putting some windows in around the house specifically, just as a preparation for winter, as winter is approaching. And actually, just kind of dawned on me, I was going to say, I bet our turnips are ready. So we'll have to grab those here in a second. But I have some fire clay brick going, and I'd actually like to make a few fire clay brick blocks and maybe turn the back of this into some fire clay bricks. And I'm thinking that will create a more dedicated oven out of this. But I do probably want to line the front of this with tables as well, so we'll see what ends up happening. In terms of where we're going to put things like the corn, I don't really know. I'm still very much work in progress figuring out what we're going to do with this. But the one thing I do need to do that I am aware of is I need to finish moving the rest of my, whatever they're called, crocs down into this basement. So I'm going to move the crocs down and probably start looking at how we're going to do our decorating. And I will see you all once it's time to do that. Okay, and I'm thinking for now, this is what we're gonna do. We have the ovens here, and I've got a couple tables. I've got the fire pit I just put here, which is fine. Ooh, my apologies. I have an incredibly rackety chair, and so I just moved, and the chair said, "Oh no, you absolutely did not," and racketied all over the place. One thing we definitely do need down here is a lantern. And I do want to make that lantern, but I am actually out of food, so I think in the meantime, I'm actually going to demonstrate pie making. And for that, we're actually going to need that bucket that I moved up here. I'm going to fill it up with water. So I'll just grab some water from here. Perfect. And we actually could eat those fish if we really needed to. And so we're going to make some fruit pies. And we're going to use that as a way to work with our fruit. So let's grab my blueberries, that's fine. And let's grab my grain. I've got a ton of rye, so we'll go through my rye grain. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rye grain and I'm going to combine it with my water. Is that not how you make dough? Uh-oh. Somebody forgot. Oh, I gotta turn, duh, that's why we made the quern. Alright, so I'm going to take my rye grain and I'm going to put it in the quern, and let me actually, I only get, yeah, that's right. I'm only going to get 1 liter of water for 1 flour, so I'm only going to need to do 10. So what you do is you put it in, and then you right click, and you'll see the quern slowly starts turning and grinding. And personally, I don't think this process is too slow. I do think it's the epitome of what Vintage Story is. You know, Vintage Story has this incredible lore behind it that's somewhat hidden, but there is an entire lore behind the game. The gameplay sounds incredibly complex, and it is incredibly complex. But then you know, will have 10 hours dedicated to just turning the corner or something like that. You know what I mean? Or napping or clay forming or things like that. And I think it's kind of hilarious. But you know, I was able to do that little monologue just as we are processing our flour. So anyway, you take your flour with your bucket of water, and you can turn that into dough. Now you can see amount of water. And so now what I can do is I can take this dough, and if I shift, no, I just have to right click, I don't have to shift right click. I put it down and I form a pie crust. And then I could take fruit, meat, or vegetables, or cheese. And cheese is arguably one of the best ways to use this. I personally haven't gotten to that point, but that's at least what I've heard. And now all I have to do is right click, and it takes 2 to add a layer of filling. You can only use 1 filling per pie, and so you use 8 berries in this case. And now what you can do is you can bake it just like this. I can bake the pie, no problem. Or I can take 2 more dough and I can add more to the top, and you'll see the grain satiation goes from 480 to 960, so it doubles the satiation that we're going to get from the grain. I like to keep my pies just like this, but we can adjust the crust style, and there's a few to choose from, but I like to keep it just plain Jane here. Just because we did change the crust style, it no longer counts this as an unmodified pie, and for that reason we'll just use the style. But personally, I don't really end up changing the style. So now I'm just going to create a second pie here, change the style so that they stack. That's what's important about it. And now we're going to get these ovens going. So I'm just going to put, maybe 3 pieces of wood. It doesn't really matter, but the more wood, the more these ovens heat up. And we want to see them heat up to around 200 degrees Celsius. And this is going to take just a second. And wow, is it dark in here? Let's get a torch. So this is going to take just a second. While that is going, I want to take our remaining flax screen and just give it to the sheep. I don't know if it's necessary for the gestation process for our female sheep, but just in case it is, I want to make sure that they have food. Let's see, we have our fire clay bricks hanging out over there. And you can see this is heating up. Now you can see when the wood disappears, it's ready to go. And all I have to do is add the pie to the oven. And if you watch the pie oh so slowly, you may notice it is just barely rising. And it really hasn't risen much here, but the color I think has slightly changed. Maybe it's just lighting change. Hey, you didn't have to do that. Anyway, we are going to notice that the pie does rise, and it doesn't rise very much until it's partway cooked. And so give it just a few more seconds and we'll see it get partway cooked. Maybe, in theory. Yeah, there it is rising. Okay, and now that it's part cooked, we're going to see it rise dramatically. And what I'm really excited about is my grain satiation is incredibly low, so we're going to be rising this right back up. And we are going to go on a great hunt once we get probably to tomorrow, but it could be a little later. We are going to go on a hunt, so that'll help us get our protein back up where things should be. Okay, and it disappeared, but you can see it's done. And I could cook this just a smidge further. You're done as well. Okay. I could have cooked these just a smidge further, and we can keep cooking if I had more pies, but I don't. And you can make the pies charred. That will make them last longer, but I don't want charred pies. I don't need them to last longer, and it takes satiation away, so that's definitely a trade-off I don't want to do. Now, I can't just eat a pie. I have to actually place it down somewhere. I can't just place or eat the pie. Instead, we need to cut it up into pieces. And the satiation stats, the 960 and the 960, each get cut by a quarter every time I take a sharp object and hit the pie. So you can see each one of these is a total of 480 satiation of 240 of each type. And that is a decent amount to fill us up. Do the same here. So you can see that a pie really isn't that much. Well, each slice of this is a bit worse than the vegetable stew that we've been having, but that's the point I guess I'm trying to make. These berries or our vegetables as well as our grain. This is a much more cost-effective way for us to be spending the food that we have, the limited food that we have, because we really don't have a ton of food. I'm going to be entirely honest. Food is something I am a little worried about. And so I think pie is going to be a great way to help us kind of offset some of my anxiety and some of my worry. There's also a ton of berry bushes around this local area that I just have not gathered or collected. And so I want to spend some time over the next few days working on that and really just going to town baking pies, because you can see in my hand these are fresh for 8 days, but if we go back down here and I were to put them here in a storage vessel, they're fresh for 30 days, so they should get us through the winter if we just mass produce pies. And I do think that is something that we can do, is just get some pies really going to town. So I do think that that is something that we're going to do. Probably not right off the bat. Instead, I want to deal with a different problem that we've been having. And it's something that I started to work on, but ran into a roadblock and wasn't able to complete. And that is our lighting problem. We are in need of 4 more lanterns. And we don't have much of a use for copper right now. Outside of maybe hammers and strips and so on. But what I do have is I do have plenty of copper that I can hammer out into plates for making these lanterns. Although I think I am a little short on, yes, clear quartz, unfortunately. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Now that we have this pickaxe here, I can actually mine my own quartz. Oh. Oh, that's very nice. So let's make this pickaxe. And we don't actually have to go very... First of all, I guess let's compare these two pickaxes. So you can see this one has a stone mining speed, which I really care about. A stone mining speed of 4 and a durability of 300. And this has a durability of 450 and a stone mining speed of 6. So it is twice as fast and has 2.5, or has 50% more durability, which is really, really nice. And I think all I have to do is just head, in this direction, and you can see I even have exposed quartz right here. And I can break that, and that's going to give me just a quartz chunk. I'm looking to see if maybe I can get a clear quartz out of this, but looks like I'm not that lucky right now. I think the quartz vein is over here as well. But just where I'm not really that familiar with this terrain behind our house. Oh. Again, hoping that I can get a couple pieces of clear quartz. I just need 2. There we go. It looks like we got our 2. Perfect. And I think that will enable us to make all the lanterns of our dreams. There's tons of quartz just hanging out over there. So let's go take a look. So that lets me make a lantern for downstairs, a lantern for the house, and a lantern for my hand. Actually, yes. Yes. But now I need to hammer all that out. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and hammer out 3 plates so that we can actually make these lanterns that I keep talking about. And I will see you once we're able to do that. Okay, so that is the last plate for the lanterns. And I will make it just like this. And the third lantern I already placed down here because that is where it is going to go. So let's go take a look now at getting the other lanterns placed. Although it is turning daytime, so we may not be able to see in totality the effect of them. Well, actually, if I put one in my hand, you can see just how bright this is, especially if I compare it to the torch. You can see it's a much more vibrant light and it goes a bit further. And as much as I'd love to have one placed in my hand, I do unfortunately think that we are going to have to put it down here in the basement because I am missing out on the quartz to make one more. But that is something, of course, that we can work on rectifying now that we have this pickaxe. And I can finally get rid of you because you've done a terrible job lighting this place up. So now that that is squared away, I want to do a lot of baking. But before I do, there's a few other things that I'd like to look at doing first. We're going to have to harvest all these cattails here. Actually, I don't think I care about going to the woods and getting the other blueberries right now. Let's see, we need to go on the hunt. If we go on the hunt, we're going to have to do a lot of cooking after. Let's clean up the inventory and I'll make a decision while I'm doing that. So I'm going to go take care of all this and I'll see you guys in a few seconds. Okay, so I do have a few things I want to do, and they're all things that can be done during the nighttime. And so for that reason, I want to take care of this hunt right now. So the first victim is unfortunately in that pit. Let's go here, here, here. Perfect. Yes, so unfortunately our first victim is here inside this pit. This bighorn sheep that did fall down, and so we are going to just hunt them. It's 4 spears, I forgot how many it was. Alright, we'll drop down here. Hopefully we'll get some fat from this as well, but really what I'm going after is the meat. Oh yeah, look at that, because we are short on protein. So back by our old house, there is a ton. Oh wow, I never put ladders down here. Whoops. So much for completing this pit. Don't break. Thank you. Ooh. And a bunny. Come on, little guy. There we go. It gives us at least one more. Nice. And a bone, I think. There we go. There's a ton of sheep by our old house. So I think that is where I'm going to trek off to now. And also there's some quartz, but I don't need to get the surface quartz anymore. We're too cool for that finally. Anyways, I'm going to see you when it's time to resume hunting. And until then, or what, is that a pig? Phew, okay. Hey, there's a cave right here. That wouldn't hurt to poke our head in, I'm sure. Just make sure there's nothing interesting. There's not. Okay, anyway, for realsies, I'm going to make my way over there and I'll see you all when it's time to resume the hunt. Okay, so you can see just on the corner of this lake here, I have 2 sheep here, and there should be more, yeah, over here. There's at least one, this one here, but I do think there is in fact more. Now, I think we're good enough where we don't need, I should have brought our healing, but I don't think I need to pillar up. I think I can just... There we go. Take care of it just like that. Although that admittedly took more throws than I was going for. We'll just gather these spears here. And it's low weight, so I don't expect us to get very much food. Maybe 8 off of this? Yeah. Okay. That's fine. We fattened the other one up because it was near our breeding area. Just throw him. And I don't know if I was gonna say, I don't know if we broke the spear or what happened to it. We'll go grab this one here. Okay. There he is. And he's down. Oh, how the mighty fall. And 10 and a piece of fat. Oh, that is juicy indeed. And there's one more, I believe. I actually think there is a fourth one somewhere. I just don't quite know where it is. I need to graft these fruit trees, by the way. I'm not going to do it right now, but it's something I'm going to do eventually. And I want to have some tree orchards by our house, but that's going to be once I have a better idea of what our permanent homestead actually is going to look like. Because right now I don't have a terrific idea. Yeah, I knew there was one more. Just because it's all going to be built around our house. And obviously our house is not done. It's very much work in progress. But I think we're going to build our house on top of the existing house. So we at least know the location, which is nice. Okay. Ooh, there's two actually. I knew this was a great spot. Let's just pillar up now, because I got wounded and I really don't want to run this risk. Like that. Okay. Ooh, that was careless of me. Seven more of you. These stacks can combine, that's fine. We're gonna cook all this up anyway, overnight. Where's the other guy? Because we do still have that one more. Can't have wandered far. There you are. The problem with the sheep is that they're actually a really solid threat. They just do a ton of damage, and I mean it makes sense, but a spear doesn't just take him down. I think what would be cool to see, like to make it more realistic, is, and this is a huge ask, don't get me wrong, and I don't think it's practical at all. It's just an idea for how to make the hunting more realistic. You know, it would be cool if the game was able to register if the different part of the animal was hit by the spear. So if you hit the spear and hits it in the head, you just down the animal right there. If you hit the torso, it's wounded, you can take the legs, etc. And it doesn't need to be shown, it doesn't need to be represented, just a way to kind of more dynamically hunt. Because the problem with the sheep right now is that, and there's more sheep over here, by the way, I just don't know where. So we're just gonna run around and look and see if we can find them. The problem with the sheep right now, and the reason why myself and I think many other players pillar up, is that they really do some serious damage to you. And I mean some serious damage. Also, I haven't talked about it at all, but I am marking cave entrances. And also, I do know that if I click the cave icon first, it does say cave entrance. This is a super stupid point on my part, but I don't like this lowercase e on entrance. I would want it to be capitalized, and for that reason and that reason alone, I manually type in cave. But I am aware that that macro does in fact work. Let's see here. I've run through this area so many times, I'm aware that there's more sheep here. It's just a matter of where are they. Although this is a ton of food for us to go through. There's some. This is a ton of food for us to go through, so it's a really, really, really good start. We've needed to do this for a while now. It's just I've been nervous about overhunting. But now that we have sheep at the beginning of the domestication process, I don't have to worry. Okay, and this should down it. Yep. Did not. I was bamboozled. That will down it, most definitely. All these guys I expect are gonna have low. Yeah, it's because you can see they're damage tier 2, which our armor is only a damage tier 1, so they would just eviscerate us even with our armor on. And that's, I guess, the other thing is all the animals in this game feel incredibly powerful. Like bears are, I was in the Discord the other day, and somebody for Vintage Story, I lurk in that Discord, so if you ever did want to chat, you can find me in that Discord. But somebody was discussing the idea of a certain movie that came out around a bear that found its way into some illegal substances, and they're like, oh, it'd be cool to mod this into the game, and then me and a couple other people went, yeah, well, we basically already have this in the game because the bears are just so wound up right now, and they really are. But I digress. It adds a challenge, and Vintage Story, for how hard of a game it is actually not that difficult to survive in. So having that check is good. But just having that check in a way that feels good, I guess, is the balance. So there's a wolf right there. That's really good to know. And I lost the other sheep, unfortunately. There he is. So let's go grab you. Okay, and that should down him. There we go. And any fat? Yes. I would have actually, well, no, I want the fat over the meat. I didn't realize you could eat fat. Why you ever would, I don't know, but you can. There's definitely players out there that have eaten fat, you know, because they're desperate, didn't know any better, etc. And then when they got later in the game and realized that fat is very necessary for lubricating automated parts, they just kind of sit there and go, oh man, you know, I can see it at least. So here we go. Now I just want to make a run this way. Yes, and just see if there's any more. There's actually, wow, there's a ton over here. I knew I wanted to go hunting over here. I don't know if we're gonna even hunt all these guys. And I know they can respawn. I believe that was introduced in... And... okay, missed, that's fine. Missed again. It's eating our tool durability. There we go. And I don't know where that other spear went. Oh, luckily it went right here. I thought I lost a copper spear. It looks like I was right. I wouldn't be surprised if I lost it as opposed to it ran out of durability, but it could be either, quite frankly. And we'll grab this one here. And I wouldn't mind just hunting until my spears are through. Once I get below 4 spears. How many am I at now? Oh, I'm at 4 spears. Well, that might be dangerous. No, I'm at 5. Okay. But I'm not going to be at 5 for very long. Okay. So I got that guy. Now if I head back here, there's a male sheep somewhere. Oh, there's 2 of them. Interesting. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. Also, one of the benefits of pillaring is you can double tap enemies, the spear falls on them twice, which is really, really helpful. Helps conserve throws, accuracy, etc. Okay, so that's that all squared away. Now I got one more here. Perfect. One thing that I actually found really difficult when I started playing Vintage Story is aiming and hunting. And it's one of those things that I'm sure it's the same in real life, but just the more I do it, the more intuitive it becomes. Although I've demonstrated some pretty bad throws this episode, I think I've also demonstrated, like that throw, some that I can really write home about and be proud of. And that purely just comes with time. The more you hunt in this game, the better you get at it, I think. I do have 2 stacks exactly. And how does this divide up in terms of 6s? I don't know if this does divide up evenly. Doesn't really matter, I guess. But I don't know if I want to keep hunting or if I want to just call it. I think I am just going to call it here. I've only got 3 guys left, but I don't need the meat right now. I know where to find them later if I need to. So I am going to run back home, put the spears away, and then I'm probably going to engage in some food work. So I'm going to get to cooking, I'm going to get to baking, and just do a lot of that. But before I do any of that, I do want to just keep grabbing berry bushes. And I don't think we're going to have time to grow any berries for the season. See, this is something I should have done, 10 episodes ago. That way I could be getting an additional harvest out of these, but that's okay. I do want to go behind our house and just go collect some of the blueberries that are there. And there's tons of cranberry bushes here along. Oh, I didn't grab that one, did I? Must have. I wish you could get fruit trees before your first winter, but I understand why you can't. Fruit is far more powerful than berries. It kind of has a shelf life closer to grain, but all the same or similar uses to berry. So I understand why you can't, but man, would it be nice. Anyways, I'm going to finish this trek home, and then I will see you all when it's time to run out behind our house and just get a better lay of the land for those woods there, and of course collect any blueberries that may be there. Okay, so this is our spears all put away, if I can do it correctly. Looks like I can. So now, how are you guys doing on your food? You're just plowing right through it. So now, let's head behind here and get a better look at kind of what's going on, and of course our blueberry bushes. I do believe I have some over here. Yes. Cranberry bushes. And blueberry bushes, okay. And cave. Well, isn't that interesting? It looks suspiciously close to a cave I've already been to. Let's see. That's right, and I have more sheep back here. Got that guy. Now, I don't happen to have this wolf over here still, do I? No, I think I unalived him. This is really disappointing on the blueberry front. I thought there was more bushes just kind of here. I'll throw a torch down. Nothing to see here for now, but I will mark it off. And I'm marking off these cave entrances. Oops, did not mean to take a screenshot of that. I'm marking off these cave entrances in white, so you can see I marked 3 off here for the next time we go exploring. I've gone ahead and there's that one I marked off. I've marked off another one up here, and if I go all the way up here, I've even marked a few off there. Whether we'll actually explore them or not, I don't know, but I am at least marking off interesting cave entrances. Okay, so nighttime is approaching us, and I am, as I said, going to do quite a bit of cooking and baking. So, I am going to get back to the house and get started on all of that, and I will see you guys in the morning. Okay, everybody. And just as we're wrapping up here, we are coming on to daytime now. And as we're coming on to daytime, I do want to stop the cooking for at least the moment, and just kind of show you what we've done. So I baked a lot of pies. We have 36 blueberry pies, 16 cranberry pies, and I burned one, so I'm going to eat this charred one. You can see the stats here, 192, 144, as opposed to the 240, 240, so the stats go down, but it lasts noticeably longer. I've also created a ton of red meat stew with boiled onion and turnip, and I've actually created so much, and plan on creating so much more, that I am worried about this expiring. And I'm worried about the ones up there expiring. So next episode, one of the things that we're going to have to do is one last pass on our bees, as our bees are ready to harvest. I think that'll probably be all we're going to be able to do pass-wise. I just want my torches. And our cattails are ready, so we're going to be able to do that. Outside of that, I'm currently sitting without a plan for the next episode. However, in between episodes, I do intend on doing some work on how I want our house to look. And I'm thinking maybe we can start figuring out how we're going to get about upgrading it and doing some initial upgrades. That very may well be what I plan on doing to start off next episode. Alright everybody, that is going to do it for today's episode. Next episode, we'll be doing something, but I'm not quite sure yet. Let's hold something a little less. There we go. I'm not quite sure exactly yet, but I think it's going to have to do with working on our house. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can follow along with the series. I've been Finko11, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.